solve by first factoring the left-hand side and then taking square root or using square root property. Okay, so x squared minus 4x plus 4. That factors us x minus 2 squared, right? Because we have two numbers that multiply to positive 4 add up to negative 4 is negative 2. Two of those, right? So on the left-hand side, we have what's called, I'll remind you, it's called a perfect square trinomial. Means that we squared a binomial to get it, right? So notice, can you guess why I wrote this as a binomial squared instead of just writing the two parentheses? If I could write the two parentheses, but then it doesn't look like our last problem, right? Where we had a quantity squared equals number. So now this looks like quantity squared equals number. And now we're ready to use our square root property. So we're going to take square root of both sides. We're going to remember the plus or minus on the right. So square root plus or minus square root 16. Okay, so here we get x minus 2 equals plus or minus 4. And then we're going to split this up. X minus 2 equals positive 4. Add the 2, add the 2, x equals 6. Or x minus 2 equals negative 4. Add the 2, add the 2, x equals negative 2. So those are my two answers, negative 2 and positive 6. Okay, let's go to 9. Okay, so this trinomial on the left looks pretty complicated, but it's a perfect square. Yep. What do we square here? We squared a 3x. What do we square to get a 16? We squared a 4. Our middle term is negative, so we need a negative. Okay, now let's check to see if we get the right middle term here. Well, remember, the middle term will be multiply 3x times negative 4, which is negative 12, and double it. There's two of those, and that equals negative 24. So we know that this is a perfect square trinomial. Remember that work we did before, perfect square trinomial. So it's okay for us to factor it like this. 3x minus 4 all squared equals 49. So now we're ready to take square root of both sides. Square root property, square root plus or minus, always on the right with the number, right? And so here we get 3x minus 4 equals plus or minus 7. So now we have two equations. One is 3x minus 4 equals 7, or 3x minus 4 equals negative 7. So we add the 4 to both sides. 3x equals 11. X equals 11/3 here. And over here we add the 4, but we get a negative 3. So 3x equals negative 3. X equals negative 1. So our two answers, negative 1 and 11/3. And I know that you know how to check this in your calculator. Okay.